Alrighty then. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, my fellow vaulters. I'm so tired of saying vault dwellers. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Josh. Welcome back to another episode of Dead Men Streaming, the channel that does absolutely no video work whatsoever. I just tell you where to go and what to do when you get there, which is a lot how I live my life and probably why I have half the problems I do. Either way, we're going to start today's episode standing out in front of a blue house outside of Somersville. Speaking of places to go and times I've told you to go there frequently. Let's kick it off though. Today's Tuesday, October the 28th. Happy Halloween in advance, all of you lovely people. And keep in mind, Fallout 76 is technically set in Halloween. It's weird. The bombs fell in Fallout around Halloween, so everything is Halloween decorated all through West Virginia, which actually is really true to form. We do a lot of great Halloween stuff all over the state, and I love it too. But that being said, let's go over the weekly challenges because we've got a lot of them to touch on. All right. We've got dailies, we got weeklies, and we've got events. We're going to start with the weeklies, and we're going to start outside of Somersville with Collect a Burnt Book. All right. So, all joking aside, port in to Somersville. You'll land over here next to the mile marker. Turn around. Now, odds are good somebody will probably have beaten you to this unless you're playing on a private server. But, assuming they haven't, when you enter this house, you'll find burnt books and ghouls everywhere. Just keep the ghoul part in mind. You can also find a handful of things like board games. And we'll just show you what's around up here. It's nothing too special. But there's like 250 burnt books in this room. So be kind to other people. If you do this on a public server and you get your books that you need, leave the rest. Don't pick up all the books. Let other players have a chance to pick them up too. There's no sense in doing that because otherwise you are at risk of ruining somebody else's gameplay. But it is the quickest way to get the challenge completed. Having said that, if you can't find burnt books here, you can find them all over Appalachia, like all over. So just explore. You'll pick them up throughout the week. Hit places like Morgantown University. Hit places like Morgantown High School. Just go to places where you would expect to see books. And I know that's a very vague thing, but this game is good about putting stuff in places where you think it would be. You know, you can even find a locked safe down here to pick up a few, whatevers you may have. And yes, I do run with Master Infiltrator because I'm lazy. All right, moving on from that. This is where to go to get your burnt books and some brain fungus for that matter, and plastic and just a bunch of decent scrap. Nothing critical, but a bunch. All right, moving on from burnt books. Let's take a look at the rest of the weekly challenges, including complete a Gold Star Daily Challenge. Gotta knock out 3, and you do that by completing a Gold Star Daily Challenge. Gotta do that's, under dailies because it's a daily challenge. Anyways, all right, collect 2,500 caps. Now, you'll do this just from looting stuff in the world, breaking into safes, killing creatures, killing people, doing whatever you have to do to earn those precious, precious bottle caps. And that does include selling items to vendors. So do a few things and tap out the vendor twice and you're good. All right. Now, deal a critical hit to a Radtoad in VATS. And again, I'm going to do something that's unusual for this channel, and I'm actually going to port up to Grafton, because this is where you're going to find Radtoads on a regular or semi-regular basis. You don't find Radtoads in a lot of places. You find them during the event Fashnot Day, which we're not doing this week, I hope. You can also find them rare spawns if you drop the nuke on the Scorched Beast Queen. You can find them during the event Natural Selection. One of these days, I'll get that event correctly. It's the event that takes place over in Arctos Pharma where you have to feed the feeding trials and then keep creatures alive. It's the public event that spawns up right over here. If you've done it, you know it. It's where you go into the bottom of the lab. But As far as Radtoads go, now I'm a little fuzzy, so this is probably going to take me a minute to find some. But there's a Radtoad. Pull out the weakest weapon you have in your inventory. I don't care what it is. In my case, it's going to be. Don't ask why I have that many Mechanics best friends. This isn't a weak weapon by any stretch, but do your best not to hit a weak spot. Do your best to ignore protest march. And then you just got to do that 5 times. So, while we listen to him talk. Anyways, this is where to find red toads. You're going to want to look for them in this particular area. This is your best bet to find them. It's just going to take a while. You may have to make a couple of trips back and forth depending on how much damage you're doing on your critical shots. If you're lucky and you've got, I don't know, just a basic 10mm pistol or a pipe gun, maybe you won't kill them until you get all 5. I am not that lucky. All right, moving on from there though. The rest of these are straightforward. Destroy a robot. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm going to tell you to go run a silo because you should. Um, However, you can also pick up a bunch of robots doing the event encrypted at the pylon ambush site, especially if you have a tagging weapon such as the Tesla cannon. You know, one of these lovely, lovely things. If I can find it. There we go. Don't ask why I have it set to aristocrats. If you have one of these, and specifically the what's it, the Edison Series 2 mod? One of these. One of these mods that creates it as a tagging weapon instead of an explosive weapon. You'll easily pick up the 30 robots at that, or do a silo, or do the regular event AWOL armaments, or run through Robco a couple of times. And that really should take care of what you need to do. Also keep in mind, look for things like, you know, Protectron, Liberator, or um, RoboBrain events. All right, moving on from there. Eat 15 pumpkins. Again, this is something that is going to be a little hit or miss for you. In order to find 15 pumpkins, your best bet is to come over to the pumpkin house for 2 reasons. One, you can get a quest that'll reward you with a recipe to make pumpkin pie if you don't find it in the pumpkin house itself. You can also find a lot of pumpkins around the pumpkin house, and then over here next to the fissure site where there is a pumpkin field. That's where you're going to get your pumpkins. I believe you can also pick some up at the small farm that's located in the back end of the Morgantown airport, but not always. Having said that, if you don't find them here, come back a couple of times and harvest at least one, and then in your workshop or camp, ideally your camp, plant some and harvest it. If nothing else, turbo fertilizer might do the trick to help you get those fast enough you can eat them. Then we have to kill a glowing creature. All right, you know where to find these. Nuke zones. So run a silo, drop a nuke, and get your 15 glowing or 10 glowing creatures. 10? Yeah. And about half the ghouls you encounter are also going to be glowing. So consider running through things like White Spring Golf Clubs. I think the mole miners down at Gleaming Depths are also glowing on the outside. Glowing creatures, you just find them everywhere. You really do. Flooded Train Yard, the Sally Glasters are usually glowing. Um, Drop a nuke down here, you'll get glowing creatures. You know, it is what it is. All right. Sell a missile launcher to an NPC vendor, sell pumpkin pie to an NPC vendor, and sell a weapon to an NPC vendor. Craft or pick up a missile launcher, craft or pick up pumpkin pie, and then sell weapons. Really don't know. There's I can't tell you to do that any differently. And if you are over score 100, of course you know it by now, complete a public event. All right, then dailies. Build a decoration in a workshop or camp. That one's on you. Claim a workshop. So, you know, I don't like doing this one, but Abandoned Bogtown is usually my go-to. It seems to be the fastest one I can get to. Federal Disposal Field is another good and easy one. Let's see. Wade Airport's a little harder to get to, but it is a fun one to do at least once. So if you haven't, you should. Hemlock Holes is another really easy one to get to. And there are a bunch of others, but it's a time consuming thing. Collect Radaway or Rad X. As you do events, you will pick these up over your hour playtime. It'll take you to do this or less, and you should be good. All right, collect or scrap coal. This is a bit of a pain. Um, the good news is that you can craft it. The bad news is you have to harvest the unrefined form. Now, you can find coal veins all throughout the ash heap. Can't imagine people in Appalachia would be mining coal. Don't know what to tell you. Where down here? Everywhere but nowhere. And you're looking for little small, hard to see rocks. If you must, I would suggest doing every other daily challenge first, straight up, and see if you get 5 pieces of coal to drop. If you do, you don't have anything to worry about. If you don't, run into Gully Mine and harvest the coal in here. You'll take 5 pieces of coal to a chemistry station and make refined coal, and that'll count. I know because I tested it before I did this video. That is going to be your easiest way. Of course, you can also find a coal vein and another couple of coal veins in another very easy location to find right up here, but not enough for this challenge. Find like 3 here. However, caveat, however, if you happen to be using excavator armor or have some, you can put that on and gain more uh, raw material per vein of whatever you harvest while wearing the excavator armor. So if you do that, you might actually get enough to pick it up here, but I'm not going to tell you either way. All right, moving on with dailies. Cripple a mole miner's head. All right, aim for the head and you're good. Kill an enemy in the ash heap region, so you just need to pick up 5 of those. And if you've got to do mole miners, head to Welch. Get 2 mole miner heads and, you know, multiple mole miners. If you don't mind a small fight, you can pick them up outside of the Gleaming Depths if nobody else has already beat you to it. And finally, scrap junk to produce plastic. If you don't pick up enough plastic doing all of these things, just do a thing of bulk plastic at a tinkerer's bench and call it a day. Same thing over here with this one. Under events. We'll get to this in a second. But you can do the same thing with this. To scrap junk to produce fertilizer, just make bulk fertilizer. All right, now let's talk about the event challenges for this week for the mini season. As a reminder, we do have a mini season going on right now, and you can access that by going to your menu, going to seasons, and then bringing up Night at the Morgue. Now, the way that this works now is that these will all be available for tickets, and if you already have enough tickets to claim them, you can do that. Then you can come back over here to challenges and do these events to earn even more tickets. If you complete all of these, you do earn enough tickets to get all of those rewards and not be out any tickets for your usual challenges. Having said that, I didn't get to play a bunch last week, so I did not. But you have that opportunity yourself. So, how do you go about doing this? Build a candy bowl and give out candy from your camp. You get the candy bowls for free in the Atom shop. Then just build them and hope people show up. Catch a fish while wearing a costume. All right, so anything in your inventory under apparel that says it is a costume, down here at the bottom when you inspect it, will count for this challenge. For the other challenges, I should note, as long as you have a costume on, both of those words in quotes that you can't see me doing right now, and you're wearing power armor, it'll still count. But we can't fish while wearing power armor, which is just rude. All right. Complete give out candy and trick or treat challenges. These will reset every day. So ultimately, you can get 25 tickets from doing this if you do it every day, just to let you know. Eat candy while in a costume. Oh, now, Oh, really quick. Complete give out candy and trick or treat completion challenges. You can only do these once a week. So if you missed giving out candy and you missed trick or treat last week, you don't get this bonus ticket reward. So, yeah, you had your chance and you blew it. I tell myself in the mirror every day. All right, now moving on from there. Eat candy while in a costume. Well, eat candy while in a costume. All right, kill a human while wearing a costume. And this is where having the costume on while being in power armor, if you're like me and you're a power armor player, that and this matter. So go find humans. As always, my recommendation is to run a daily op when you have humans available, or barring that, run the most sensational game in Boardwalk. That's going to get you the most humans you can possibly need. Having said that, if you don't wish to do either of those two events, Point Pleasant's got a bunch. Clancy Manor has a bunch. You'll find humans at every Blood Eagle camp and every camp for the cultists. So, that is what it is. Good luck, good hunting. All right, but just remember to keep your costume on. Finally, trick or treat from another player's candy bowl. Scrap junk to produce fertilizer, so bulk fertilizer while wearing a costume, and then scrap it, and you're good and done. And kill 25 spooky scorched. So, where are spooky scorched? Spooky scorched are legendaries. They have a rare chance of spawning anywhere you find scorched in the overworld. Where do you find scorched at a regular decent amount? Fissure sites have the most, for obvious reasons. You can also pick up a slew of them at Camden Park. You can find some in and around Wavy Willard's Water Park. There's actually quite a few up here. I always do a quick run through of the Palace of the Winding Path, Bolton Greens, and there's like 3 or 4 down here at White Powder. You can also find a small number over at the Pleasant Valley Ski Resort. Having said that, you can also pick them up at events like Surface to Air, but that's hit or miss. All right, that's it. Your daily, weekly, and event challenges. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do hope this helped you out. If it didn't, I'm sorry. If I could do it better in a way that doesn't involve video editing, please let me know. And don't forget to give me a like and a follow and subscribe if you are so inclined, because I greatly appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Josh. Welcome again, and thank you so much for watching Dead Men Streaming. I'll see you all again in about a week. May even be less, because finally, City Skylines 2 is supposed to release their new DLC, so I have hopes. All right, talk to you soon. Good night.